players. You can't protect them from competition. You bring in your group, and the guys that understand competition brings out the best. They strive and they get better. They don't have to play 30 minutes a game to reach their dreams. And so why I did it, if I had to do it over again, we would have had a couple more players. By not having a couple more players, guys are put in positions you have to play. And it's hard to change guys when they're in that mode. The other thing, and again, my wife and I talked about it, I don't have any regrets where I gave guys more than one chance to make it and it hurt our team. Like, why did you leave this guy there? Why didn't you just tell him, beat it, you're not going to be good enough, we're going to put you there? Because it's about each individual player. And I can tell you that guys got the full season to prove themselves and do what they were going to do. And you know what? I told my team, or my staff, we can't, if I'm going to err, it's going to be on the side of the player. Now, I know that's, well, the program's got to go and this kid's got to go. That's all good. But if it were your son, what would you want me to do? So if I'm going to err, it'll be on the side of a player, which at times hurts the program. Now, it's not how we've all been brought up to do this. It's how I do it. And so there were some things that went on that I should have changed to this and this, but I was giving guys that opportunity. And now, and I said it, you can live without regrets. It may have hurt you for a season, but what's it doing to you? Nothing. But that young man had every chance to do what he was supposed to change, to do it. If he wasn't willing or wasn't able, now we know and we move on. But he got that full shot. So those were some things. But I will tell you again, can you imagine if all four of the guys put their name in the draft, we'd have had 4 first-rounders? Do you know what that means? This is about the players. This is about them getting better. Can you imagine that? Now, you could say why, however you want to say why, but that's a fact. The guys coming back should have come back. The guys that put their name in the draft, I'm going to do everything I can to help them. We're not changing how we do that.
John, how do you address just the almost overwhelming expectation that just hand them the championship, but it's not even going to be competitive?
Well, I'm not hearing that, Jared, at all, but I can imagine that's out there. It's probably because people are really rooting for us to do well. So that's probably part of the reason they want us to do so well. They're putting that out there to help us build this team right. I don't buy into any of that. I mean, if anybody thinks this is easy, we've got a lot of coaches right now that have taken players that are the elite players and it hadn't worked out because it's hard. What we do here is hard. It's not the normal thing that goes on. Do I like it? No. Do I wish kids would stay for 2 or 3 years? Absolutely. I'm still trying to do things to get that rule changed so that they are, at least we encourage them to stay 2 years by doing things that make it possible for them to stay 2 years or 3. If they stay 2 with the summer, they're close to being graduated. They'll be a little year. Jody Meeks is coming back to finish up. You know, I don't know if you saw that we had a 3.4 team GPA. That's ridiculous. 3.4? 12 guys over a B average. 12 out of 13. 10 out of 10 guys that have gone through the program. How about this? 25 out of 25 who have gone through the program. Through either going pro or finishing the term. 25 out of 25 have either, we call it the success rate here. Because it's a different situation. We're not working on a 25-year-old model here. It's different. It makes people mad when you talk about it. Oh, because you're not about academics. You don't care. You're a basketball factory. We had a 3.4 GPA. We've had 10 players graduate. We've had 2 players come back. We have 2 more players coming back to finish up. 25 out of 25 players have either gotten their degrees or going on to be pro basketball players. 25. That's the success rate. Drives you crazy, can't be. It's a conspiracy. It starts right up with the governor. But it's the numbers. It's a fact. And so here we are trying to do everything. And I've talked to you guys about that when we were here. You're in Kentucky. You're expected. You're held to a different standard. Things that go on at other campuses can't go on here. Just can't.
Cal, you talked about going 40-0 before. When you assemble a team with this much talent, is that something you put out there as a challenge for them, or does that create?
No, I won't. But there'll be things out there that'll be, you know, we're chasing perfection, we're chasing greatness, we're chasing things that have never been done in the history of our game. Well, what I like about that, you know, people say pressure. Man, pressure brings out the best. Pressure, you're going to be fired if you don't get this done. You're not going to make it if you don't get this. It wakes you up earlier in the morning. Don't mind a little pressure. I've had it my whole career. I've had the gun to my head for 20-some years. And you know what? I'm at my best when the gun is to my head. Versus, okay, I'm good. I can kick back. I'm not as good. And you know what? Players are the same. Now, I'm not sitting there saying that we lose a game, it's not a successful season. No, but you're chasing greatness. What's wrong with that? And we want to talk moment to moment, and we're not putting that on the kids. Well, we are. Any pressure on these kids when they come here? It's on us. Now, it won't be something that's the forefront thing we're talking about, but there'll be things out there that they'll see. But it's like we were at UMass, and you know, one of the kids said, "Let's go undefeated." He said it, not me. You know who our first game was that year? Kentucky, in Detroit. And then we played Maryland and Florida. Our fourth game of the year was Wake Forest. Who's on that team? Oh, that Duncan kid. Then we played BC in Boston. Then we played Syracuse, North Carolina State, Southern Cal. Then we played Louisville. But guess what, guys? They said it. Let's go undefeated. Well, I didn't say it. That's the first time I looked at the guy. What do you need? Drug testing? What are you talking about? We played Kentucky the first game. They're #1 team in the country. Well, you want them in a mentality that they can win every game. It's hard to. It's never been done in the modern era.
You said what? You said what we do here is hard. What makes it hard?
No, having 55 media show up for a summer, you know, I don't even know what this is. But it's being, I mean, every game is someone's Super Bowl. I say it, and you all know it's true. I mean, they're storming the court, they're going nuts. I've had, Mike Bray and I are friends, he apologized for them storming the court. I said, Mike, it's part of the college experience. You beat Kentucky, you storm the court. They'll remember that the rest of their lives. Well, think about that. Think about that. I mean, the game at Indiana, 20 years from now, how many people would have seen that in person? Oscar, how many? 400,000? I was there. Really? There's 400,000 people that saw that in person and chased the court. You're beating Kentucky, so being here I come back to it's not for everybody. Just not.
How on paper have you had a team as deep as this one and as, I guess, maybe as versatile as that?
Well, I'm not deep at every position, but we've got a lot of good players and just figuring out who's who. But what I like is there's going to be competition. Some guys are going to play, some guys are not going to play. Who? No one's been promised anything. Just how it is. I mean, they're going to have to compete with each other, and you're not going to play 13 guys. We all know that. Probably playing 8 or 9 guys. Well, what does that mean? Well, let's do the math. You play 8 or 9, that means 4 or 5 aren't playing much. Well, who are those 4 or 5? Well, it will be decided when we're playing basketball. Will we play different? Absolutely. We'll press more. We'll foul more. Because that's the way the game's going. Now, they're saying all this stuff about the charge block and we're not going to let the fouling go. Do you really believe that? You watch the games. The more you foul, the more you shoot free throws. I don't understand how that works. So we're going to press and play more physical and bump and grind, and we'll put our arms up in the air and we'll hip check guys, and that's how we're going to play. I mean, now we have numbers, you know, and again, my philosophy had always been 6 fouls. That's all you want to have in a half, because you don't want them to shoot one-on-ones. We're not playing the foul. But now we have numbers, we'll play more toward our team, how this team needs to play.
How important are the summer months in terms of getting them prepared as a new group responsibilities and things like that as they prepare to be
June
basketball
1st to when they get here, it's the whole process of earning their way into single rooms, earning their way into the locker room, that trying to make this an earned process. No one's given anything here. You're going to earn your way. So we're doing some things a little different with this group. Probably our season ended probably earlier than I can even ever remember one of my seasons ending. And we did more at the end of this year. I'll be honest with you, we've never done postseason stuff. Because we were always to the last week of the season, then they had finals, and then they went home. Well, this year we had 4 weeks. And I hope that what they went through, they don't ever want to go through again. So we better extend the season just so we don't have to face that.
Cal Willie told us that his mindset has changed since the end of the season. Have you seen that in him?
You know what I love the most? Hated school. He told you, beginning of the year, I hate school. And I appreciate an honest guy. And you know what he said by the end of the year? You know, I'm kind of loving this. I'm good now. The school part of it, I'm liking. Well, part of what we have to do here is not only the love of basketball. You got to find out, not everybody loves playing the sport. They're just big, so they were supposed to play, so they play. When you find those guys, you run from them. But believe me, they're at every level of basketball. The second thing is you're trying to create a love of learning, reading books, the things that Willie, because he did not like school, he and I had books we read together. I'd get him a book and he'd read it, I'd read it, and I'd ask him questions about it. So it's more than just, these kids are young kids, they're 18, it's your own child. Learning to crawl, learning to walk, learning to talk right, learning to be mannered, socially learning their way. What makes these kids different? Well, they're bigger. Really? So now a kid's 6'10", so he's different than your own child. And that's why I say the patience of this, the galvanizing that we have to do, keeping people away from them because the people in their ear truly only care about that person, not our team or the other guys. They like the other guys, but they don't like them as much as they like you. And so